What do you call 2 banana peels?
What?
A pair of slippers.
Yes, you do.
Hungry Squared, bringing you the best food talk anywhere.
Welcome to the Hungry Square podcast where the brain and belly meet. I'm Sharon from the Wasatch Cooking Guide.
And I'm Winter from theredparty.com. This week, we're talking all about bananas.
B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Let's talk about it.
Looking for Hungry Squared, yeah, Hungry Squared.
Okay, Sharon, what'd you eat this week? Anything good? Bad? How's your week been?
It's been good.
Yeah, what'd you eat?
I ruined a roast on Sunday.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. So I always make my roast in the crock pot, slow cooker.
Yes. Good way to go.
Yeah, that's how I grew up with it. And
Makes it tender.
It does. And moist.
Mhm.
Should I know people don't like that word, but
Tender and
juicy.
juicy.
There you go. You can make it really dry in a crock pot too,
yeah.
But I have managed to make it tender and juicy.
Strong work.
But I decided that I would branch out and make it in the oven in a Dutch oven, like a cast iron Dutch oven.
And?
Well,
That didn't work out.
no. In my defense, this was a last minute decision that I made in the afternoon.
Oh, so you didn't do
late morning, early afternoon.
So you didn't do the low, slow forever.
Well, technically it was low and slow. It just wasn't low enough.
Oh, so it ended up dry, I'm assuming.
It was real dry.
Oh,
Real dry.
okay. So this was the fail then.
But
What did
the
you?
highlight
Oh,
is
okay.
that any bad cut of meat can be made better if you make really good mashed potatoes.
Oh yes.
Thanks, Ike.
Good work, Ike. So what made these awesome?
Yukon Golds.
Mm,
He decided to peel them. I don't usually peel Yukon Golds
me either. I like that
because
skin.
the skin's pretty tender on those.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, it's not a very strong flavor.
Yeah.
Mild, I guess. He peeled them and then we made them with cream cheese.
Oh, yes.
So they were decadent and creamy, and I might have had them for breakfast the next day.
No judgment.
Hey,
No judgment.
people eat hash browns for breakfast. I had mashed potatoes.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. There's cream in there.
Mm-hmm. There's cream and cream cheese.
Double duty.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds hecka good.
What did you eat this week?
I drank something.
What?
That was so good.
What?
So one thing that you guys may or may not know about me, actually you probably don't know this about me, but there's a couple of things that I like to seek out in regards to drinks, specialty drinks. So I love root beer. So I will try all the root beers. Like if there's a root beer on tap or something like that, I love root beer. I grew up drinking it and that was like, it tastes good to me. The other thing I have recently started to like a lot is ginger beer.
Oh, yeah.
And I just like when I was a kid, ginger was a little much for me.
It's pretty strong flavor.
It is. But as I've gotten older, I have really taken to ginger beer. And some ginger beers are really good, but I prefer ones that have more ginger and are a little on the spicy side and I prefer those over the ones that are like just super sweet with like a hint of, so like ginger ale is almost a little too sweet for me.
It is pretty sweet. I like ginger ale.
Me
but
too.
I like it because it's sweet.
Yeah. Well, and that's fine. I mean, like I'll have that every so often, but like when I can find a good ginger beer, then I am all about it. It's non-alcoholic. And the one that I had this week, I think is my favorite thus far. And
what kind?
I've tried a lot of ginger beers. It's a company called Garwood's, GARWOOD''S.
Okay.
It's made here in Utah. So shout out to our local eats and local food producers, which is awesome. But they have a couple of different flavors. Their regular one is so spicy. It's so good. It's strong. Like you kind of want to drink a wee dram. It's one of those ones where it's pretty strong and you're like, oh, I feel much better after taking this. Then they have a spicy one.
Oh, so the regular one is pretty spicy.
Yeah, but the spicy one is dang spicy. I didn't get that one this week. Like I got a little brown jug of the it's a glass jug, I guess, of the regular one. And I didn't go for the spicy because I knew Lee would be drinking it. Lucy will probably ask for some, and she will probably it'll curdle her toes if
go up into her sinuses.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they also have, I think, a citrus one as well, a grapefruit flavored one. But I just really like the straight ginger beer. So check them out, Garwood's. And they sell them locally here. And I think you may be able to order them online. I'll put it on the show notes. But it's good ginger beer. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Have to check that out.
Yeah, you will.
Okay.
And now for the main course.
Let's get down to our topic at hand. Bananas.
Bananas. Okay.
Wanted to talk about bananas.
Okay. I had
it sounds like a weird topic. And that was my impression when Winter said we need to talk about bananas.
Okay, you guys, there's a reason for this, okay? So let me tell you a quick story because you're never going to believe this. So, because I was like, what is going on? There's something going on here. So bananas, my husband, Lee and I, we went and ran a half marathon in Reykjavik, Iceland a few years ago.
With our friend. What did we call her?
I don't remember. Dr. something.
We gave her a shout out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, she came with us and we had another friend as well. And we ran this race. And I have run many races in the United States and those are fun and everything. But what do you usually see at the end after you finish the race? You get your medal. You take off your
snacks.
You get snacks. Mm-hmm. Okay. So.
And you run the race for the snacks.
Kind of.
I mean, you run it for personal sense of accomplishment, to be fit, to compete, whatever. But then while you're running, that's all you think about is the snacks.
Yeah. You're like, I kind of want to have a orange slice or a banana.
Yes. Typical fruit at the end of a race.
There's tons of potassium in bananas and they're great for after a race. So
no cramping.
Yeah. I was expecting to get a banana.
Sure.
That's what you expect, right?
And you ran a half marathon.
I ran a half marathon.
13 miles.
So I was pretty proud of myself. I'm done with marathons. I'm happy just doing half marathons now. They're more enjoyable, I think.
Yeah.
We get to the finish line and guess what they have?
Well, you're in Iceland. So do they have pickled fish or something?
No, they didn't have that. That would have been really interesting though. They had Gatorade.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That's what you expect.
American.
Gatorade and water. And they also had chocolate covered raisins.
Ew.
That's it.
13 miles and you get chocolate covered raisins. I hate chocolate.
Oh, you do? I'm
not a raisin fan.
I do love them.
I would be highly disappointed, I have to say.
I was expecting a banana and I got chocolate covered raisins. Okay, I do like chocolate. I like raisins, so I was fine with that. But I really was like, where's my banana?
Dang it.
Yeah. So I was a little bummed about that. That was probably the only drawback to that trip. Was a no banana at the end of the race. I know that sounds ridiculous.
Is it expensive to import all the way to Iceland?
Yes. Now, there's a little asterisk on that though, because a lot of their produce, some of their produce is expensive because they're just in the middle of nowhere, right?
Sure.
So fresh produce is tough, but they do have greenhouses. And we were told by a tour guide that there is a fairly large plantation of banana trees or banana plants in Iceland.
There's banana trees in Iceland.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
Yes, there are.
What?
Yes, there are. And I was shocked. I was like, come again? What are you talking about? And so they're like, yeah, they said something, and I've actually since looked it up, but they said it's the biggest banana plantation in Northern Europe.
What?
And I was like, there's no way that those could survive. And I was like, it's got to be in a greenhouse. And it turns out it is in a greenhouse. And it turns out after I've done some research that Spain is actually the country that has the largest, they're the largest banana producer in Europe. So it's not Iceland, but this greenhouse in Iceland actually has about 600 to 700 banana plants.
Whoa.
Yeah, right? Crazy. Okay,
oh.
So I was like, what is going on? And somebody said something about how it's the exact same banana as what you would have in South America. And I was like, what are you talking about? The same banana? I was like, there's something going.
Transplanting seeds or something?
Yeah. So that's why I brought up this subject, because I was like, something's going on with bananas that I don't know about. I don't know enough about bananas to speak intelligently on it. So that's why we're having a podcast episode. So I could do research and we could talk about it. So what are bananas, right? That's
tropical fruit.
Yeah. So it's considered an herbaceous flowering plant. So it doesn't really have a trunk. It doesn't have a woody stem. It has something called a pseudostem or a false stem.
Like I've seen them growing on trees when I was little, when we go on trips to Hawaii.
And it's just
Is it not like an actual tree?
No, it's not. They're mistaken as trees, but they're
because they look like a tree.
They look like a tree. They totally do. But it's just these these stalks that come out, and there's a little
they're
structure.
Quite tall.
Some of them, and it just depends on the variety, obviously. So there's a structure at the very bottom of above the ground, and it's called a corm, CORM.
Okay.
And like then they have these kind of the pseudostem where they come out and they have these basically they're stalks that come out. And so
and then they grow on bunches.
Yeah, and those
the
bananas come out and those bananas are considered fingers. They talk about this banana heart. Yeah, there's a banana heart. So it's a cluster, and then the different tiers are called hands, and then each of the bananas are called fingers. So that's the basic gist of a banana plant. So I was like, where did these come from? And I heard something about how we may not have bananas.
What?
The bananas that we have currently may be at risk for being wiped out. And I was like, why? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I will tell you why. There's a history that you're going to love.
Is it back to the bee?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not actually back to the bee. Okay. So let's back up here. So how do bananas grow? Yeah, because it's not
on the tree, but it's not a tree. It's a fake tree.
Yeah, it's kind of a fake tree. Let's go back into our Wayback Machine. Back in the day, there were two different plants. There were wild plant species in South Asia, the Musa acuminata and the Musa balbisiana. Okay. Two plants. One of them, the first one, the acuminata, was banana-like. Well, it wasn't banana-like, but it had the flesh of the fruit was really not palatable. Was not good to eat.
Oh, okay. But it was like a banana-ish,
right? It's a fruit of some sort.
It looked like
starchy.
a banana.
No, I don't think it did.
Oh, okay.
Another fruit, the Musa balbisiana, was too seedy to be any good. So the flesh was okay, but there was too many seeds in there. Too much going on.
Okay.
And these were wild. So it so happens that, in the wild, they cross-pollinate occasionally, and it would produce a plant that was sterile. It was a half-breed, and it was this banana plant that had a flesh that was tasty and didn't have all those seeds in it.
So that's how we got the banana that we know today?
Yes, but I just want to point out that this plant is sterile. Like it
doesn't reproduce.
No, it's like a mule. Right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Horse, donkey, mule, can't breed. Kind of like that. I think that's how I was thinking of it as. Okay, so these like weird offshoots and like occasional cross-pollination. So people noticed, right, that something was going on. And they're like, well, we can't get it to do it on its own. I mean, we can't force it to do it. So what they would do is they would kind of propagate it. They would pull off these, they would call it a sucker or a follower. They were taking these shoots and cuttings from the underground stem and planting them somewhere else.
Oh, okay. So that's how they got more plants.
Yes.
Okay.
Ergo, these new plants are genetically identical progeny of the first plants.
We're eating clones?
We're eating clones. Bananas are clones, everybody. Okay. Now it gets better.
Okay.
So back in the day, at the start of the 20th century, okay, the banana cultivar. So cultivars are the type of basically a type of banana. Was a dessert banana called the Gros Michael, GROSMICHAEL, and that's just it's French for Big Mike. Okay. So this particular banana was very sweet, much sweeter than we may be used to. It's very tasty and it didn't spoil quickly. And this banana, we created this banana and it was cultivated for commercial use. Like people were eating it, making it, growing it. And that's what everybody knew it to be. In the the beginning of the 20th century into about mid 20th century. However, because they are genetically identical, that means so you would get pretty much the same, right? Because they're the clone of
the clone.
They're gonna taste exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
However, so that's a nice thing. It's like, oh, I know what to expect with this banana.
Sure.
But the problem is because you're genetically identical, that means that if there's something, if you're susceptible to a disease, then you're gonna wipe everything out. And that's what happened.
No.
Yeah, totally. So there was something called the Panama disease, which was a fungal leaf infection. And all of a sudden they were this fungal infection was starting to come through and decimate these banana plantations. Like they would just be a big pile of mushiness.
Oh no, I can't imagine how that would be for the owners.
Oh yeah. And they were like, oh gosh, we need to do something in order to prevent this. Because people's livelihoods based on these
Your
banana.
entire crop gets wiped out by a fungal, like a leaf fungus.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Oh
so they were like, we need to find a backup. And comes along a Vietnamese variety called the Cavendish cultivar. Same thing. It's genetically cloned, right? Because it's sweeter. It's the same yellow. It's the banana we know today.
Oh.
So we have several bananas just sitting over there in our fruit bowl. That is the Cavendish variety of bananas. That's what is in your grocery store. That's what is commercially available. Once again, because it is genetically identical, because they're doing the exact same thing in the way they're propagating it, is that it runs the risk of being wiped out. And that's why I say we may not have the Cavendish in a little bit. Because in 1970, something came up. It was called the black sigatoka. And that one was beat off. That particular disease to the banana plants was beat off by plenty of pesticides. Everybody.
Oh, okay.
But recently in Southeast Asia, there was a same Panama disease, that fungal infection thing. It was more vigorous and it was pesticide resistant. So the strain has come through and it has started to affect some banana plantations in Southeast Asia.
Help science. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I know. That's a great question. Because I was like, there's got to be a better way. And it's interesting because I did read a couple of articles about how you can go ahead and try and do selective breeding, but it's really actually quite difficult to get a seed to actually cultivate. So what I heard from this particular, they must have done they've tried to do it before, but 1 in 300 of the fruit will produce a seed.
Oh my gosh.
And out of one of those 3 seeds, only one of the 3 will have the right chromosomal configuration to actually be able to cultivate.
Oh, dang.
So it's rough. It's rough. It's not good. So there's a couple of other people that have, so there's one thing is that you could do some genetic modification. Not everybody's a big fan of that, right? Because, I'm sure there's implications. And then also some people are just not, they don't want to have anything to do that. So the University of Leuven in Belgium, they have actually quite a large interest in bananas because of all the colonies they had in Africa back in the day. So they have been working on getting some DNA transfer that are like DNA that is resistant to disease, that type of thing in these. And they did start a kind of a field test back in 2007. But once again, we're still kind of, where are we at on that? I'm not totally sure. In Honduras, they've cultivated a cultivar called Goldfinger. And it's done okay in some places like in Australia, but it definitely does not have the very familiar Cavendish flavor, right?
Oh, it's a different flavor?
It's a totally different flavor and it takes longer to mature. So, you know how we get bananas and it's 2 to 3 days depending on where it's at. We'll talk, I think you're going to
ripen.
You're going to talk about ripening in just a minute. But so I guess if Cavendish gets wiped out, this Goldfinger could be the one that takes over and we just get used to it because apparently Gros Michael was way tastier and sweeter and
Aww.
Yeah. And so we're used to more of the Cavendish now because that's what we grew up with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of curious. If we have any listeners that are a little bit older, hey, thanks for joining us.
Talk to us about bananas.
Yeah. Do you remember ever having the Gros Michael version, like a kind of a sweeter version? Yeah. Bigger banana.
Did you have better bananas back then?
I know, right? So that's what I found out about bananas, that this is why in Iceland, they have several cultivars of banana, and there was no specifics on which versions that they had. I am assuming because they received those after the war, so I'm assuming there's probably got to be a Gros Michael or two in there.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I bet there's a lot of Cavendish stuff, Cavendish cultivars in there. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
They don't sell those bananas though in Iceland. The people that take care of it, the students, the faculty and stuff of this horticulture school take care of it, and
it's for the biome.
It's for them. It's for them to eat. And I was like, that's good because I didn't get one after the marathon.
Lucky ducks. All we got is raisins.
So I thought that was really interesting. So bananas, yeah, man, brutal.
That is brutal.
You're a sterile little fruit plant, and I feel bad for you. But
don't go away, banana.
I do like the banana. Some people don't.
Yeah, no, I know quite a few people that really don't like the distinct banana flavor.
Yeah.
I know quite a few people that don't like the texture.
Oh, yeah. I can totally see that being a texture issue.
Yeah. So how do you like your bananas? Do you like them greener and firm, or do you like them ripe?
I like them ripe.
I do too.
Yeah, the greener and firmer, that texture is a little weird to me.
So recently I listened to Christopher Kimball's podcast.
Oh, yes.
With Ziggy Marley.
Oh, yeah.
And he talked about eating green bananas.
He did.
Yeah, for breakfast.
Yep.
And that's a big Caribbean dish thing down there, is they'll eat green bananas. When we get bananas at the grocery store, they'll usually pick them when they're still very green.
Yes.
And so by the time they get to us in the grocery store, it's a little bit harder to find the green ones.
The super green ones, right?
Depending on the time of year. But it'll usually just take a couple of days once you bring the bananas home to fully ripen, if they're not already fully ripe.
Right.
I think we've talked about it before, how they have been a little too ripe at my house and have
blown up.
Yes, they've blown up. Mm-hmm. But I like my bananas ripe. I'll even eat quite a bruised, quote unquote, looking banana.
Me too. I'm okay with that.
Yep, I'm okay. Like,
to a certain point,
it's got to be mostly like, oh, I guess I should make banana bread with that instead of eat it. Sometimes I have to decide.
Yikes.
It's pretty soft by then.
Yeah.
But I have been known to eat them still.
So do you know what causes the fermentation is it a fermentation process, or is it it's just ripening? It's
just ripening. So with the green bananas, they have more starch in them. And as they ripen and turn yellow, that starch turns into sugar.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the green banana, if you've ever had them, they are not very sweet, and they're actually a little bit bitter. So in Caribbean dishes where they use green bananas, they will peel them, but you can't really peel them because the peel's too hard.
Yeah, it really is.
So you have to cut it.
Okay.
Similar to how you cut a plantain. If you work with a plantain and like maybe fry those up in like little chunks or chips or something like that. I've done that before, but the plantains are super sappy. They're really sappy to work with. So when you're cutting them and then you're taking the skins off of them, it's like having pine sap all over your fingers almost.
Oh.
And it's really hard to get off. You have to use like those stainless steel little, like, they look like a piece of soap.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. To clean your hands, and a lot of like grease cutting dish soap, like a lot. Green bananas aren't as bad. They're not as sappy, but they're still kind of hard to peel. So you have to cut the peel off. And then it's common to boil them and also to fry those up.
Huh.
And they're, like I said, they're kind of have a bitter taste. When you cook them, a little bit of that bitterness goes away. But it's still a more savory taste.
They would use that in a savory dish versus
like with tomatoes and onions.
Yeah.
Versus like something sweet, like a dessert.
Yeah, I was about to say they kind of differentiate the different bananas as dessert bananas or ones that are more for a savory dish, which is so interesting. I was like, I've never had a savory banana something.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I kind of want to try it, but I'm a little bit nervous.
There's a lot of different banana varieties. We don't get them here in the United States, I don't think, unless you seek out maybe an Asian market or something like that. But I think other places in the world, we have at least one listener in New Zealand.
Hey,
Chloe. I think it's Catherine. Oh, Chloe, our friend.
Chloe, our friend. And Catherine.
Yeah. Hey. So I'm curious to know what kind of bananas you guys have down there, because it really, like, we just don't, I feel like the produce we have is not as extensive as other places in the world. So
that's true, especially being in our landlocked state.
Yeah.
But yeah, so green bananas, and then they ripen. So with the ripening, that starch turns to sugar, and then eventually it breaks down, turning the banana black, and so brown. It's like a brownish black. Some people will throw that away. I usually pop those in my freezer.
Yes.
Until more can join them, because it's usually like I'll usually get a big bunch, and then by the end of the week, there's one sad banana
that hasn't made it.
Yeah. So once I get 3 sad bananas, I will make banana bread.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
And they store well in the freezer like that. But so with the browning of bananas, they brown easily once they're opened. So once it's peeled, they'll brown easily, kind of like an apple or an avocado.
It's just oxidation?
Oh,
okay.
So there's actually a little bit of a process to that. There's the discolorations caused by 3 chemical ingredients. So it's 1 and 2 ring phenolic compounds, which is a certain type of a plant enzyme, and oxygen. So the intact fruit or vegetable, I guess, like it happens to mushrooms and potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
So those phenolic compounds are kept in a storage vacuole, which is the surrounding cytoplasm in the cell.
Okay.
Right. So when the cell structure is damaged, then those phenolics are mixed with oxygen and they oxidize. So they form molecules that eventually react with each other, and they bond together and
that's
absorb light. And so that creates the browning. So this system is actually a plant's defense. So
what do you mean?
When an insect or a microbe damages its cells, the plant releases reactive phenolics, and it actually attacks the invader's own enzymes and the membranes.
What?
Yeah. So
what are you talking about? Really?
Yeah.
So it does have like these banana plants, bananas.
So yeah. So it's like a defense. And then the brown pigments that we see are essentially masses of spent weaponry.
Oh, really?
Kind of cool.
That is really cool. I did not know that.
Yeah. So one way to combat that, because we cut fruits and stuff like if you're making a fruit salad, or like with your avocados especially, like I just most of the time use like half of an avocado at a time, is to use acid or somehow block the oxygen.
Right. From combining with those.
Yeah. So if you can't create like an airtight seal, like some people have those little like veggie vacuum bags and stuff that you've seen on TV that they buy, and they're like, oh, I vacuum sealed all of my leftovers.
That's too fancy for me.
It's way too fancy. No way. But so the enzymes work a lot slower in acidic conditions. So a good thing is to put like some lemon juice on them. Typically with fruit, the lemon juice isn't really detectable.
Yeah, I think that I was like, would you put that on an avocado? Yeah, I think that would be fine too.
You could. What I like to do with avocados, if I know that I'm not going to use it right away, like the browning doesn't, like I've said, like I'll eat a brown banana, like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Same with an avocado. It's just oxidized. It tastes the same. But you can immerse it in water.
Oh.
And the water, even though it's H2O, it still limits the oxygen. So if you can immerse it in like some cold water, so you put like your avocado half or your banana halves, like maybe you made a banana split, or you just gave your kid half of a banana. If you put it in like a Tupperware container type thing, like a plastic or glass container, like food storage, and
put
water over it, and then just fish it out,
and then
it'll
kind of dry it off a little, and there you go. Well, that makes sense.
And it'll still be green. It'll still be yellow. Like
there's no oxygen. It's being surrounded by water, the H2O instead. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if, I'm curious now, because when you say that, because there's some people, like you said, that do not like the taste of bananas. There's one person in particular that I'm thinking of, and he has said, I do not like bananas because they have a very bitter taste to me. And I'm wondering if when he was younger, he had eaten greener bananas, because like you said, they're not sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people that will only eat a green banana. Like if there's any yellow on it, they will not eat it.
Yeah, it's too far gone.
What they feed their families.
Yeah.
And it's too sugary for them or whatever. Because
so interesting.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's super sweet.
Well, and I was going to say that maybe also those phenolic compounds plus the oxygen, that whatever that when the compound that makes, then maybe that person is a super taster to that and they just don't like it. I mean, it's very bitter to them. Maybe that's just what's going on. You can listen to our Genetics of Taste episode. That was very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea. Fruits, nature is cool.
Nature is cool with our clones and defenses.
Yeah, but we definitely mess with things. Can I say one last thing about banana runts?
Banana runts.
You know, like the candy runts.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is my beef with fruit flavored candy.
Listen up, Wonka. Isn't Wonka the
I
one
think
that
he
makes
does. Yeah. That's fine. But just in general though, like banana flavored candies do not taste like bananas.
No.
At all. And I was wondering, actually, is it because it was based off of the old Gros Michael?
Oh.
Versus the current Cavendish, right?
Maybe.
So there was actually a story done by BBC on this very topic.
What?
Yeah. Because I was like, yeah, it really bugs me that bananas flavoring doesn't taste like that. But because I remember in chemistry class, we made some ester like things that smelled like banana flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's likely not because of the Gros Michael. It's actually this BBC top story kind of talked about it. How it's like, even though the Gros Michael is a little bit more, it's more flavorful and sweet and everything, and a different flavor than our current Cavendish, there's a good chance that because it was so sweet and like different in flavor, it actually had its own kind of, it tasted a little artificial on its own. So maybe that's why things kind of taste like that. But really, in general, the compound that they use to do the banana artificial flavor is called isoamyl acetate, and that's what bananas like. That's the flavoring that they use. It's just a compound that they use.
So it's just chemically that you're tasting that you don't like.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was nothing definitive to say it was based off of the Gros Michael flavor. It may have been, but we don't know that. There's nothing to pinpoint that down. So
interesting.
I want to know if anybody's had the Gros Michael version.
Yeah. My grandfather grew up in the Depression, and that was when Gros Michaels were around.
Yeah.
And it was a rare treat for him in South Dakota on their farm to get
a banana. I bet it was.
And that was his favorite food.
Bananas.
Till forever. It was his favorite food.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
pretty cool.
I guess when you associate it with it being a treat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So interesting. We can get these so cheaply at the store nowadays. It's not a problem.
Especially, I just wanted to end on a creepy note.
Oh,
speaking of the store is what I wanted to say, but ending on a creepy note.
Yeah.
Banana spiders are a thing.
What are you talking about? No.
Yes. Every once in a while you hear about people finding spiders in their bunches of bananas.
How big are these spiders?
Some of them can be very, very big.
What's very big? Are we talking like the size of a quarter?
No, big.
Bigger. Like
big,
what?
Big tropical spiders. Some of them can be venomous.
What? And they just hitchhike.
Yeah, they hang out in at the top,
yeah,
where they're all connected. So that's why you sometimes see plastic wrap around them, or like a piece of plastic or tape kind of looking thing around there. It's to discourage the spiders. And you're more likely to find the spider if you buy bagged bananas. Some places have bananas in a bag.
Yes. They're going to just hang out there because probably...
You are going to want to check that. So
thanks for that creepy note. I mean, I've never even thought of spiders in my bananas. Like, I'm not really scared of spiders, but that's just
they're just icky. I'm not scared of them either, but they're icky. I know some people that are.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with them, but I'm like, yeah.
Bananas to me are worth it, but yeah, don't buy them in a bag.
Noted.
Let's have a food fight.
Food fight, food fight, food fight, food fight. It's winter.
This is a segment where you can email us with your relationship questions relating to food. You can email us at hungrysquared@gmail.com.
Disclaimer, we are in no way professional relationship experts, but you should totally listen to us anyway. If you need professional help, please seek it out.
Food fight, food fight, food fight. The food fight segment of the show. Here we go.
Winter, do you have our question this week?
I do. And I feel like I can relate to this. Maybe you can relate to this question. I think it's a good question.
Oh, what is it?
Okay, it says, Dear Sharon and Winter, I'm having some major spousal guilt. I was like, oh, I totally can relate to this one. My husband and I both work, but I come home later since I work a 10-hour shift while he works 8 hours. So he picks up our daughter from daycare, then comes home, starts making dinner. And then when I get home a couple hours later, he is so nice and shoos me to play with our 2-year-old daughter while he gets dinner ready. But I'm having some major guilt because I feel like I haven't made dinner in months. Help. Signed, more than just a 9-to-5 girl.
Nice.
I like that.
Can you relate?
Yeah, totally. Well, okay, so obviously Lee is the chef in the family, and so he's way faster at it, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, I'd say he's a better cook for sure than I am. And so, yeah, when I get home, sometimes I'm like, and he's like, go take our daughter and go play or go do, go for a walk or whatever. I'm like, but I can help you. And
yeah,
let me help you. And so that's why I'm like, I have guilt too. Like this girl, it's hard.
Do you guys follow the cooking and dishes rule?
Yes. So
whoever cooks doesn't have to do dishes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I insist on that because Lee, he would do the dishes even if he made the dinner.
Right.
But I'm like, nope. Let me.
You have to shoo him away.
Yep. I have to shoo him away at that time. So I don't know. How about you? Do you have this? Does this happen in your house? I kind of feel like it might.
It kind of does. So Ike and I both work, and he's got 2 kids who are teenagers, and we have them, at least half of the time.
Yeah.
So it's a typical 1 week on, 1 week off schedule. Sometimes we have more on weeks than off weeks, or on days than off days.
Right.
It's kind of weird.
Just for one reason or the other.
Yeah. Just however it works out. So, so most of the time there's, we have the kids, and he actually so the kids get home from school, and they're older, and then he gets home from work, and then I get home from work.
So you're the last person
I'm the last person home.
Just kind of like this.
But I cook.
You end up cooking.
So that's kind of our arrangement because it's a blended family. This is this is one of my main contributions to the family.
Okay.
Just like for the day-to-day operations, this is like my main contribution. So, and I like it. I like to cook and I like to meal plan and stuff. Well, some days I like to meal plan, I should say. But I like to cook, and I kind of like to decide what we're going to have because lots of times it's slightly, not a lot, but just slightly healthier option than what the boys or I would pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually get ingredients on my way home from work because it's convenient that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll get them on the weekend and then try to stretch it out into the week.
Gotcha.
But I've got this little system down where I only spend about 20 minutes at the grocery store after work. So it's
quick.
Pretty quick. And then I cook at home, and then Ike does the dishes.
Okay, so you do follow that rule too.
Yeah. When Ike cooks, I do the dishes, but he's a messier cook than I am.
Isn't that funny?
But he's the chef. He's faster at things, but it comes with a little bit of a price.
Yeah.
Because there's a little, I try to clean as I go and stuff like that. And he just tries to do it fast because that's what he's been paid for years to do, is produce something quickly.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah.
So I think that in this case, because I have guilt sometimes when Lee's like, nope, I'm going to take care of dinner. I was like, come on. I don't suck that bad at cooking.
No, you don't. You cook really great.
Well, but the thing
you
is,
cook good things.
So this is my take on things. I think Lee jokes and he's like, you're an emancipated woman. It's a joke. But he's like, we both kind of agree that there's plenty of work to be done around the house, period.
There is, like,
right?
And cooking is just one element of,
Yeah.
I mean, there's laundry, there's actual sanitation to be done in the home, you know, like
there's plenty of work to be done.
There's
and
yard work, there's other things. Yeah. And Ike does so much. Like, he is a handyman. He, you know, gets the kids to do amazing things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
You know,
and so I think you shouldn't have guilt. And even that, you know, however long half an hour, like he's going to take an extra half an hour after you get home to finish up the meal, to get the meal ready. That's half an hour that you get to play with your daughter.
Yeah.
I think that's
and
really,
that's a great way to unwind from your work day.
yeah. Cause it's
know?
not serious. You guys are just playing or you're watching a show together, whatever it happens to be, but you're together.
It's a great way to connect with her when you can't be with her all day.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe your husband maybe he needs some time to unwind as well. Cause he's come home from work and then he's kind of had to pick up your daughter, and he's had to kind of entertain her for a couple hours before you get home.
So he's had that unwinding time and that connection too.
Yeah. But then he might just want some alone time. And so maybe cooking is his way of saying, I need to be alone.
That some days that's mine.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like, I like the process, you know, of creating something.
Yes.
I feel like it's very creative, but I feel like it's very therapeutic.
Oh, yeah.
It can be really therapeutic to chop vegetables.
Oh, yes. It totally can be. And so I think don't have the guilt. I would talk to your husband and just say, hey, I do feel bad. Can we, if you really, or if you do miss cooking, for example, you can just make arrangements like Sharon does, like make a plan ahead of time, meal plan, and say, I'm going to take this one. Let me do this. Or can you take this one? Because I think, like I said, there's plenty of work to be done. And if you just kind of split it up and talk about it a little bit ahead of time, then there won't be that guilt. Because you've already agreed, like, okay, when I get home, I'll just take our daughter, and we'll go play while you finish up, and then I'll take care of dishes or whatever, right?
Yeah, like everybody's family game plan is different. Even though, like, I'm the last one that gets home, I usually cook, and I like it that way. And they're totally fine with that.
That's good.
They're all totally fine with that. So they'll wait, you know, a little bit longer to eat
have
something
dinner.
just because they're like, oh, Sharon made this. It was really good.
Yeah.
You know?
So there's kind of, yeah.
I mean, I don't think you should feel guilty at all.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's family solutions are different. And if that's what works for you guys, do it.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad that your other friends, you know, make dinner for their families every night or whatever. That's fine.
Yeah. It works for their family. What works for you is great. Just make sure, I would say, talk to your husband and make sure you guys are on the same page and he's not resenting it.
Yeah.
Because that might be something to talk about.
Yeah, check in with him and then, like, periodically check in together. Like, I mean, I don't cook every night. There's some nights where Ike knows that I've had a really rough day and he's like, I know this was our plan. I'm just going to take care of it from here.
Yeah. Or we're going to go out.
Yeah. You know, whatever. Or we've both had a bad day. That's when we go out, when we've both had a hard day.
Yeah. So I just say kind of evaluate your family and what your needs are. Because who knows, your work schedules could change. Like maybe it'll be opposite and you're staying home with your daughter instead. Or he's staying home with your daughter and you will need to reevaluate the situation when those changes happen. So
that's just life.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think you got it. Don't feel guilty. You're rocking it and he's rocking it too.
Yeah.
Good job,
it's awesome
you guys.
that you have somebody to help you and be with you.
I know.
It's great.
It's awesome.
Thanks for joining us today for our show. You can find us at hungrysquared.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music.
You guys, it's National Share Podcast Month. Isn't that what? I don't know what it's called.
We're trying to raise podcast awareness.
Oh, that's what it is.
By using the hashtag TRYPOD. TRYPOD.
So like telling people to try out listening to podcasts. So
it's kind of introducing people that don't already know what they are to what a podcast is.
Yeah, because
expand your community.
Exactly. So share our podcast with friends who would love to talk about food with you and be nerdy about it.
Yeah.
And we'll fill their ears with interesting facts about food, like bananas. Yeah. Tripod. Hashtag tripod.
Tripod.
Okay. Well, we will see you next week for another episode of Food Nerdery. I'm excited.
Woohoo. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry squared, yeah, hungry squared.